guys can help me welcome Tommy and Glenn, please.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Tommy Searcy from Gum Creek Farms for the wonderful pork that he provided today. We had 3 different cuts. We had the shoulder, which we cooked with a bunch of different chilies to make it a little bit spicy. Cooked it for about 3 or 4 hours, and that helps break down the meat so it's nice and tender. And we also simply roasted the pork loin with basically just salt and pepper. And then we had the belly, which we slow cooked in liquid, keeping all the fat intact. So you had 3 different contrasting pieces of pork. I hope you enjoyed it and noticed the differences in each cut. Having been in Carrollton for a short time, one of the greatest aspects of the community is the local farming effort. And it's part of our goal here at Sunset Hills to help economically encourage farmers to succeed by buying their products, learning how they do their farming practices. We actually just cut ground for a garden here at Sunset Hills. It's going to be the first year that we've done that. And with all the local farmers here, I will have access to their knowledge so we can learn how to properly do it. But most of the farmers here in Carrollton, the great thing is the products that they provide. They do sustainable farming. A lot of it is organic, naturally raised, and it gives us, as a chef, a wonderful product to begin our preparation with. Because if you start out with the best products, your end result is going to be a lot better than if you started out with products that were inferior. I would like to welcome from Gum Creek Farms, Tommy Searcy.
I've been at this for about 10 years. We started in Roopville. We had a raw piece of land, and that raw piece of land had like nothing on it, and it was pretty rough. And so we put a perimeter fence around it, thought we'd raise some cows and, do the right thing. We got like 45 acres of grass, and the rest of it is in woods. Total of 84 acres, and we worked hard at it. And so about 10 years ago, we decided we'd start raising chickens, and what we call a yard bird. Me and Glenn had this conversation, and it's I've heard them called everything, but basically we was raising a yard bird, and like our grandparents raised, and we was just gonna do it for ourselves, put it in the freezers. And somebody contacted us and said, if y'all do this on like a little bigger scale, there's a market for it. I sell it. This person said I sell at a market in Atlanta, and they're really looking for somebody to do this. So we kind of upped our growth, and we had this really cool idea that we'd just process these things on farm, and we would sell them, and everything would be fine. Took out a little advertisement, and it didn't take but about a week and a half. I got a visit from the state of Georgia. The guy was really nice in his Ray-Bans, LTD, badge, no gun, but he stood behind the door when he got out, to make sure I didn't have a gun, I guess. He had a long talk with me. He enlightened me very, very nicely on what I was doing and the right way to do it, and what I was doing wasn't the right way to do it. So we found a processor that was in Mississippi, DeKalb, Mississippi. They were on the news last night. Tornado went through there. Really great guy. He was probably in his 60s at that time, and he said, I got a chicken line. He said, I'll process your chickens. Well, DeKalb, Mississippi is about 3 hours from here, kind of. Driving hard is 3 hours. And we did that for a while, and diesel fuel went up. We come to find out, I remember the first chicken I sold in Carrollton at the Cotton Mill Market. The first person that asked me a price on it, I was scared to death to tell them. And they said, well, how much is a whole chicken? And I kind of batted my eyes and rolled them back. I said, it was about $12 a bird. And real quick. And they looked at me and they said, do what? I mean, it was just like that. I said, it's about $12 a bird, 3 to 4 pound bird. And why is it so high? I can go to Kroger and buy one for 99 cents. You're right, you can, but you can't buy this type of chicken. So here comes this whole big explanation. I have to go back, get on the computer, do some more research. In our mind, we knew what we were doing was doing right, and people wanted it. But you had to be able to explain why. And it's taken me 10 years to come to this point to be able to say, I do what I do, and I strive to raise the best pork, the best lamb that I can put out there. But the cost of doing that, when you see prices of a naturally raised product and you know the farmer, people don't understand the amount of time, effort, heartaches, diesel fuel, just keep naming it, and processing. I drive 360 miles 6 times a month for processing. Those miles add up. I'm a CDL driver. I quit driving CDL. I got tired of driving, but I do a lot. I found out now I'm still doing a lot of driving. So it takes a lot for me to bring that little piece of loin. It wasn't a little piece, but in the belly, to Glenn to do his thing. There's a lot of time and effort in it. So through this 10 years, I threw a lot of rocks at big ag farming, and so I was able to do a little research, come in contact with a lady in Atlanta that she's got a really good website. If you get a chance to go there, it's called usafarmstars.com. I met her and we had a discussion, and she had a big ag farm. And of course, during this time, I kept studying. it, and but I look at it now. Big ag farming, if it wasn't for the corn and the soybeans that's in the mix that I feed and their minerals, in reality, it would be tough to do what I do, because there's farms that raise large amounts of beef, large amounts of hogs, similar to the way that I do it, but those families that are running it now inherited huge farms that already had equipment and everything in place to, let's say they had 300 acres of river bottom, they got combines, they got tractors, had all that already in place. All they had to do was make it work. And we started with a raw piece of land, so I still have to depend on big ag. My stuff is pretty close. My corn and soybeans, are pretty close to this area. They're not in our backyard because, look around. There's not 2,000 acres sitting around anybody's planting. But if you will notice, more and more people are taking grasslands in and planting soybean and corn for the fact the demand is there. And when those people that are local start getting their stuff a little closer, then it makes our mix for our hogs and our cows that eats every now and then, and our lambs, be able to become closer. So my story with big ag is, it takes a lot. Those families that are in big ag farming, yes, the Monsanto seed companies, y'all have all seen the movies, y'all have heard the tales, read it. Yeah, they do have their thumb on that farmer, and to some degree I feel sorry for them, but people say, oh, this guy made so much money last year. I said, go back and look 10 years and 20 years back from that and see how much money he made. It's tough. And I'll stand before every one of y'all and say, I'm just a simple farmer. I'm not big ag at all. You can come to my place and look. I just I got some pictures rolling over there. I just was able to build a barn, and I finally got around to getting a couple of good tractors. But when we started out, we did it all by hand. I mean, everything we did by hand. I'd go to the feed mill over in Ramford, Alabama, and I finally got up to a point where I had 55-gallon barrels, and they'd put the feed in the barrels for me, and I'd take those barrels and had a little junky loader, and I put them barrels in the loader, and I'd empty them out into the feeders. Well, now I finally got a tractor big enough to pick up 1,000-pound bags that I can load into the feeders 1,000 pounds at a time. And I go through about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds of feed a week. So it's a tough job. But what I do, it takes somebody like Glenn, and I deal with probably about 14 restaurants in Atlanta, sometimes more. I deal with 14 on a weekly basis, probably as high as 20 on a once a month, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. And I've got 4 to 6 more that's coming online, as you would say. They'll be happening in May, April, and on into the fall. And all of my customers and chefs, I say customers, but all of them are chefs, they believe in what I do, and I believe in what they do. I'm not the guy that goes and knocks on everybody's door and to try to sell a product to make money. I want to put my product in the hands of somebody that's going to treat it the way I would like, the respect that I like to see it given. And Glenn will tell you that. We've talked about it for hours, and that's tough. I just, so many people, and I've has picked me up, and then they'd say, well, we just can't do that. We can't make it work. We can't make it. Don't fit in our budget. we're running, you know, we need to run at 30%, and using your product, we're running at 28%, you know. And I'm like, I think 2% more is worth it to the public, you know. I mean, you know, think about it. I mean, is 2%, is it worth it to the public or not? I said, now if you was talking, you drop down to 20% or 15%, yeah, I can understand that. But you won't see my product in like a quote unquote barbecue place. It's just not feasible you can't sell an $8 sandwich to everybody in the public. If you got a fine dining restaurant and you decide to run pulled pork one night, you can do that. You can get away with it. But for like a regular barbecue place to do it, it can't happen. So 5 years ago, I got involved with an organization called Couchon 555. Of course, Couchon is French for pig. The 555 is 5 chefs, 5 wines, and 5 pigs. And the guy that headed that up, I was the first farmer that he called in this area. And what he has tried to do is go all across the country and have this 555 competition. They name a winner, you know, they judge the chefs, and what they do is they do nose to tail on a pig. They prepare the dishes from everything nose to tail. So last year, he decided that he would have a heritage barbecue cook-off in Memphis. Nobody's ever heard of this, but he pulled it off. And there's pictures of it on my laptop. So me and 4 chefs, we formed a team. Well, it was me and 3 chefs formed a team. I didn't do anything but raise the hog and handle the logistics and getting there. We won that competition. When it was a national competition, people from Chicago, all over came, and we walked out of there first place in about $5,000 worth of bourbon. That was our take. You know, they had they had all the bourbon companies there, and we had this huge stage back here. Excuse me, I should have silenced that. But had this huge stage with all that back there. So what I shot was prize. Of course, we got some nice cookware and things like that. But what I'm getting at, the point I'm trying to drive is this guy is trying his best to show barbecue places, not maybe the higher end ones to start with, of how to utilize us to show them and teach them how to utilize nose to tail on a hog. So you might not necessarily go in and get a pulled sandwich every time, you know, pulled pork. It may be something this, that, but you know, and that's what our menu was. That's why we won it, because we had like 6 different items and we utilized the whole pig. You know, we went from soup all the way up to dessert, and from the pig. I mean, I've actually got a chef that can take lard. I mean, rendered lard, and by the time he flavors it and everything, do y'all remember the vanilla cookies when you was a little bitty kid that was in between it? Tastes just like it. And they'll put that on, we call them port rinds, they call them chicharrones. He put that on a chicharron, and he will, it's the greatest thing I've ever ate. And then he laughed, he said, but this is the way it used to be done, before all the artificial stuff came in and the flavoring and things like that. And he said, and you can't tell it from vanilla flavoring. Okay, I'm gonna silence you.
You're a popular guy.
It's Friday at lunch. Okay, it's Friday at lunch. In case y'all know, I process on Wednesdays. I pick up on Monday. I deliver on Tuesday. Thursday, Friday is my finalization of orders. Some people have got standing orders. I don't have to worry about it. Write it down. It's the same thing every week. But some people are standing orders, and are standing orders. Some of them I have to talk to them about. Well, I've got this left. I've got that left. Yeah, I'll take that, and that's what Friday at lunchtime starts at. Text messages and calls. Okay, I want this. I want that.
Did we get theirs?
No. We've had this plan for them. We've had this plan. So, but I guess bottom line, what I'm trying to tell everyone, get to know your farmer. There's some. I won another award. I'm not a guy. I don't like to pat my back too much, but we won another award with Pine Street Market. We won the best Copa, and it was the best foods award. And we got to go to San Francisco and pick it up, and we won it out of like 75 applicants nationwide. And he wanted me to go with him, and I said, well, yeah, you're the one that cured it. I mean, you're the one that made it. You're the one that sliced it, packed it, and this and that. He said, but I'd have never done it. He said, I've never been able to win it till I started using your stuff. So I want you to go with me, to receive this award with me, and they're also going to have, a piece of paper. That's what I got, a piece of paper had a very, very expensive weekend in San Francisco to get a little piece of paper. But get to know your farmer. My product is at Farmers Fresh CSA on the square. And when you go in there, anything you see with Pine Street Market, that's our stuff too. Pine Street Market is my biggest customer. He's charcuterie, I mean, he does it all. And you'll see pork chops, you'll see cider brine pork chops, you'll see all kind of salamis and sausages and that type of stuff. But just know that all of those it's made from my product. And Rusty Bowers owns it. He's a great guy. He was going to try to be here today, but he can't be here today. But he's not only is he my largest customer, but he's one of my best friends too. And we spend every Tuesday afternoon together when we're not too busy and try to plan and do things. And we hold butcher classes, butcher demo classes there. Glenn's been there. We'll do that once a month. And believe it or not, that has really become a intriguing thing to people. And people want to know more about how their meat is cut, why it's cut that way. It's coming back. And I think you're going to see, I hope you see it in Carrollton, but it's already in the Atlanta area. I hope soon in Carrollton or close by area is there anybody here that remembers the old style butcher shop where you could just go in and tell a guy that I want a pork chop? Well, he'll hand cut your pork chop, but he's going to have to hacksaw it a little bit or use a cleaver to get through the rest of the part of the bone. Or I want a steak, or they'll already have some ground beef ground up fresh that day and that type of stuff. Ask that person when that's going on. So where did it all come from? Just ask him, who's the farmer? Is he local? And if he is, chances are you're going to have the best meat there. And in closing, there's a lot of great farmers in this area, vegetable farmers. Pat them on the back. Anybody that farms vegetables and brings them to the market for sale, I tried to do that. Me and Alicia tried to do that, and Dugan's sitting here shaking his head. Alicia tried to do it probably, but you was just sitting there. It's hard work. I grew up as a kid. My dad used to plant forever. I won't eat a butter bean today on account of that. And I just we picked butter beans forever when I was a kid, and I just got to where I hated them. So anybody that grows vegetables and brings them to a market at their place, pat them on the back, because there's a lot of hard work. To get one tomato to you, there's a lot of hard work in one tomato. And the last thing I'm going to say, buy local. Just find out where everybody's at, and be it vegetables. The cotton mill market will be opening up here soon. Talk to everybody, and ask them what they do, why they do it, see what their passion is, and you can tell just about everyone they're passionate about it. Yes, they like to make a little money, but I guarantee you, everybody that you'll see down there, it's just got a passion for what to do, because you got to have it. And because there's no way if you're going to go at it, so well, I'm just going to go out here and make a bunch of money just because I think it's the right thing to do. If it was easy to do, everybody would be growing hogs and trying to get them processed, but it just ain't an easy task. And I thank y'all for having me. Continue, keep an eye out on the menu here. I mean, Glenn uses me a lot. He features me. He don't wear me out, and that's good. But he'll feature me once a month or more, and it's good. And the Little Hawaiian, which I don't mind telling Glenn because we're all friends. Little Hawaiian, Chef Tano, he'll use me, and but it's a featured kind of thing. It's not like in Atlanta. I'm on a lot of menus all the time, and you'll see Gum Creek Farms on their menu, and but he'll feature me, and if I have my choice, I'd rather be featured in 50 restaurants sometimes than just to have 10 that I'm there all the time with. So I thank all of y'all and hope you enjoyed your meal.
Any questions for Tom?
Yes.
What is the age and weight of your hogs and slaughter?
I usually try to run 280 to 300 pounds gross weight, and it takes them about 10 months, sometimes 11 months. It depends on the time of the year. A hog will put on more weight during the wintertime when it's cold.
Don't we all?
Well, I mean, and it's right. It's right. If you really think about it, and they will actually and they'll put on more fat during that time. Is because it's just what their body does. Summertime hogs that are eating in the dead of the summer, I'm gonna tell you, when he hit 106, 112 last year, I can guarantee you my hogs could care less. Some of them could care less if they went and eat. The only thing they was concerned about was drinking water and laying in the mud hole. I mean, and that's just, so sometimes it can be as early as 9 months, sometimes it can be as long as 11 months. Anybody else?
What about this slaughter facility up here, Allen Junction?
I don't use them.
What, is there any progress on what Bill Hodge is trying to do with the?
Got shut down. It didn't get shut down. It just didn't happen.
Just didn't take off.
Not invested,
So there's no place in Georgia that slaughters chickens other than?
not invested.
Will Harris at White Oak Pastures is the only one in Georgia, but he's not for the public right now, so not to my knowledge. And you know, it didn't even get into the story of Auburn University. I mean, Auburn University. I'm a Georgia fan. And they know I'm a Georgia fan when I go down there. They see my Georgia tag, but that fell into my lap through a friend, and they used to do a lot of my processing. The meat science lab did down there, and through that time, I become really good friends with them, and I also become great friends with the guy that's over the swine unit. I always kind of laugh and say, he's the pig daddy. That's what he is. I mean, he's the daddy of all pigs at Auburn, and they handle all that. And I finally got to go through their swine unit to go through a artificial insemination with them. And it took me 4 years to talk him into it, and Brian finally told me, he said, well, if you're willing to come down here and shower in and shower out, come on. I didn't think anything about showering in and showering out. You probably done that. I don't know if...
I'm not sure where we're going with this.
No, you go in, he keys you into the room, you put all your stuff in a locker, you walk over here and you step into a shower, you step out on the other side of the shower and put on their underwear, their scrubs, their shoes, their socks, their hat, and their coat, and you stay in their unit. You do whatever you want to do, and then when you're done, you shower back out, put your stuff on. But if you go back in there, you got to shower in again. So he said, it's controlled because one little germ of the wrong thing can wipe out a herd. So it's a germ control. And during the process of it also, I met a guy at Pine Street Market at a butcher demo that's over the St. Joseph's Research Center. And I was just always so intrigued with that. And that's where, they take pig valves, they work. All the top surgeons in the world come there to perform surgeries with pig valves. They do stents and stuff in lambs, because their veins are like ours, and that's how they have to learn. That's how they have to get started. And I said, man, can I come through there? He's like, yeah, we'll set it up. I'd have never found that place. It's beside Georgia Tech, but you'd never know it was there. They turn the air over in that place 24 times an hour. The air, just inside the building. They had lambs, they had pigs, they had all this in there, and you smelled nothing. And you walk through, and the only thing I smelled one time was cedar shavings, and that's because they had them sitting right there in the hall. But they had a state-of-the-art 2 operating rooms, $40 million worth of technology sitting there. And so I know, people can say, that's just so bad you do it. But if somebody's going to put a valve in me or a stent, I want them to be well practiced. So it was really neat to see that. Anything else? Yes.
I don't know if you mind me asking, what restaurants in Atlanta?
Okay, I'm going to run through the list fast. So it's Pine Street Market, Homegrown USA. I had to bounce around H. Harper Station, Miso, Jolie Kobe, Local 3, Muss and Turner's, 4th and Swift. I'm trying to visualize my little list in my head. It used to be Woodfire Grill, Pure Vita. Those were my very first 2 customers, and they were there for 10 years, and they just had a little changeover. And then JCT Kitchen, Cardamom Hills. Most of them are fine dining. Wrecking Bar Brew Pub, they do ground beef there. They do my hamburgers. The hamburgers they do is of my ground beef. And my mind's going blank here for a second. But
a lot of Rotary members go to this place.
So,
Local 3 is good.
yeah. And all these guys, you know, I mean, I met Michael Toohey was my first chef that I've ever dealt with, and he came to talk to me at a market. He did a demo, and we used some of my stuff, and it snowballed from there. You know, I got Restaurant Eugene, Holman and Finch. Wow, I can go on, and then there's some that, you know, they don't pop in my mind because they only use them like every now and then for special events. Even Slocum's Barbecue, when they do a special event, if they're going to do something really nice like this, they'll call me and get a pig because, you know, they want a higher quality than, you know, what they use every day. And so it's just remember, I mean, and almost you can, I think now you can actually go online and you can figure out, you know, you can put like Gum Creek Farms in, and I think there's a place, I don't know what the website is, but we'll tell you where, you know, where we're at and where we're featured.
Got
Tommy,
we
you should also tell the audience that your hamburger meat at Holland and Fitch was #1 in America.
It's not mine though.
Oh, was it your meat?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You sell
I wish it
those?
was. They grind their own. And I'll tell you the reason why. I mean, me and Glenn was just laughing about it. He'll laugh at me. It's kind of a hoopla, but it works. They order a particular cut, 2 particular cuts, and they spend a lot of time and they grind it and they mix it themselves. Stella's a very good butcher. She buys from me about every other week, not beef but pork, but it's a really good concept what they do. They spend a lot of time with their own hands for that mix, where it's their mix and they know what they're doing and they've ironed it out through the years, and that's why they got #1.
Question over here.
Yes.
You only feed grass to all of your animals?
No.
Or you feed grain?
I feed it's grain. I went on this big grass-fed kick, and during the wintertime, my cows would just lose their weight back off. There's not a lot of protein in hay. There's not any protein in the grass in the pasture that time of the year. So I'll supplement them with some grain, and I've come to find out that the meat marbling and everything looks a little better. It's not in front of them all the time. It's more of a winter supplement than anything else. But my hogs are not going to grow out on grass. They'd be 5 years old before they got big enough. So they eat a corn soybean meal mix.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you coming in.